32 days. That's how long it's been since we did the last one of these fan-made legend videos, and you guys have been, like, throttling me in the comments, like, when is the next one, when is the next one? So finally, we are out here doing the third part of this. Now, in the playlist, I've actually included the fan-made skins, because I think that that's a pretty cool addition, like, kind of a subcategory of these types of videos. I apologize that it's literally been a full month since the last one, but with the beginning of the new season, things do get really crazy, and at least for my analytics, I've found that people don't really want to watch more creative content around when seasons drop. They just want to see things about the season and about the season's lore and that kind of stuff. So now is when we start to move into the more fun, creative, almost like filler content in between seasons and limited time modes, I guess, which is actually my favorite type of content to do. So at this point, you guys probably already know how this works. I'm going to go through 3 fan-made legends that have been left on the comment section of my previous video, and I've made 3 horrible amalgamations of video game and movie characters to kind of represent these legends, I guess. You already know they're terrible, but I feel like that's part of the fun of these videos. So let's get into the first one. Now, the first one is going to be a character named Greyhound, and this comes from Juice Man over a month ago. The lore on this dude is pretty much the exact same as Loba. Jace Walker is the real name of this character. He was an IMC grunt during the Frontier War, but after a Hammond Samoka murdered his parents at a research facility, he rebelled and joined the militia. Yada yada yada. It turns out it was Revenant, which I think is actually interesting. He got a lot of hate for making a very similar backstory, but I think it could be interesting because he and Loba could be kind of like a tag team trying to kill Revenant. So, you know, it's a workaround. His passive is called War Veteran. Greyhound, which I'll put up on screen, but I'm actually going to sum it up for you because it's a little confusing here. Basically, any weapon stock that he finds is immediately bumped up another level. So if you find a white one, it's the equivalent of a blue. If you find a blue one, it's the equivalent of a purple. And I think it would be interesting if he even had a level above purple, which made you equip and de-equip weapons even faster, but that's just me. Let me know what you guys think about that. Tactical is called Commando Roll. Greyhound does a roll in front of him that goes 5 meters, and he's really hard to hit while he's rolling because it's a fast and awkward animation. Cooldown being 7 seconds. I actually think this is a really cool tactical ability. It's one that we haven't seen at all on any of the characters, like a quick, short movement. Loba can obviously teleport, and Wraith can phase out, but to have this like charge ability to get you in or out of bad situations, I think is really cool. The tactical I would bump up to about 12 seconds instead of 7 seconds for that cooldown, just because I think this is a really effective and cool tactical. And the ultimate ability is Disruptor Rounds. Greyhound activates Disruptor Rounds, dealing 15% more shield damage for whatever weapon he has for 35 seconds. Getting a knock with Disruptor Rounds adds an additional 5 seconds to the duration. Cooldown is 2 minutes. Now, I don't mind this. I think it's a cool way to bring back Disruptor Rounds, and I think it really fits his character. However, if you've seen the previous videos, I'm not the hugest fan of having like altered bullet types as an ultimate ability. One of these other legends today has a pretty cool tactical ability, but actually allowing him to do 15% more shield damage for 35 seconds, I think is a little bit much. I think maybe if you bumped it down to 25 seconds, it would be a lot more fair, a lot less overpowered. So that's Greyhound. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. So that was our first one. As you can see on the side, he is looking pretty cool. But now let's move on, because next up we have an arsonist or pyro or whatever. The legend's name is Inferno, real name Brian Mart, who has a passive ability where he doesn't take fire. Thermite grenades and lava damage do not affect him, which I think is really cool, really interesting, because we have Caustic, who isn't affected by caustic gas, whether it's his or a different caustics. So I think it's actually interesting to have this character who isn't affected by thermite grenades. I think it would really change how people break down doors. I think this would help a lot with rezzing, because usually if someone's on the other side of a door and you just drop a thermite grenade, they're gonna burn to death. But now if you're playing as Inferno, if somebody breaks down that door with a thermite, you can just walk right out the door and kill them. So they'd have to be very cognizant of who is on the other side. His tactical ability is a flamethrower, which does fire damage and is active for 5 seconds. If someone is burned for 4 seconds, it basically kills them. It takes them down 250 HP. I don't mind this at all. I just think it would have to have a very short range or have damage drop off. So say maybe within 3 meters, where it does that 75 health per second. But then if you're outside 5, say you're like 7-8 meters away, it does half that, and then it only reaches about 9 or 10 meters. I think that's pretty fair, especially because this would probably also come with tick damage. So there are definitely ways you could make that fair. I think right now it's a little overpowered unless you add a pretty tight meter lock on it, like it can't go too far. And the ultimate ability is a flame grenade that makes a burning ring around 6 meters. Inferno is teleported into the center of it. So this is actually really interesting. Now, when this comment came out, we didn't yet have Loba. So the fact that he was thinking that far ahead, in that this is a throwable that actually teleports you, and there's that burning ring around 6 meters. So this could be really effective for breaking into a house. So say you teleport into the house and you basically light that whole floor of the house on fire. This would be really good for clearing areas. So I actually genuinely really like this ultimate ability. I think it could be incredibly effective if used right. So overall, really great character. I'd be really interested to see how a character like this could shake up the meta. So Inferno is looking pretty good. I want to know though, let me know down in the comments. This is a genuine question. Do you want me to give these legends like a score out of 10 when I rate them? Because it's called Rate My Legend, but I don't know, I feel weird putting a number value on somebody's idea, but if you guys really want to see it, I will definitely do it. So thank you for that one, and last but not least, we have Lockz, the Gravity Manipulator, which is one of the craziest characters. Like, just listen to this. This is the one that I'm most interested for your guys' feedback on, because the ultimate ability is kind of whack, but let's go through. So the passive is that Lockz jumps 15% higher than other legends. I'm assuming as a result of the ability to lower gravity for himself, which is a totally doable passive. Obviously, Revenant crouch walks significantly faster. So we know that Respawn is already willing to kind of modify basic player speeds. Now this is interesting to me because with 15% higher, you could skip the climbing animation for most fences, and it might be a little more difficult to wall jump, but that's just kind of the detail-oriented Tyler coming out. I think it would actually be pretty fun. However, then we have the tactical, which is Plasmatic Destabilizer, which allows him to actually slow enemies by 50% within a certain radius. Now, I'm thinking about this in the grander scheme of things. I'm talking specifically about endgame for ranked matches, because if you guys know, above like platinum probably, and definitely in like pro competitive matches, these dudes are like rocking 15 people in the final circle. So if you can slow down a whole lot of people at once, I think this is going to get really overpowered. I think there's going to have to be some kind of catch that comes with this. Either it's going to have a fairly small radius, I'd say probably about 5 meters, or it's gonna only slow maybe 2 people, the people who are closest to the radius, because as previously stated, it would be incredibly overpowered if everybody within that radius was being slowed by 50%. However, I do think, again, that this is actually an ability that with a bunch of modifications could actually be really cool. Maybe not 50%, maybe that EMP speed, but then again, I know this doesn't take down shields, but I feel like a lot of the allure of playing crypto is the EMP because it slows people down. So they just have to be careful with implementing something like this so that they don't further remove crypto from the player base, since he only garners about 2% of the pick rate right now. However, moving on, we have the ultimate, which is the Graviton Chamber, which literally, even straight up from the name, is kind of ripping off Zarya's ultimate from Overwatch. And it says, Lockz creates a chamber with a decently sized area that hoists enemies up in low gravity for 4 seconds. Enemies can still shoot but are caught in midair. Only works on each opponent once. So honestly, overall, I do think that these are some pretty interesting like base abilities. However, I'm not the hugest fan of all of them centering around slowing players or stopping their movement, since any player who has like decent aim can kill a player who has purple armor in about 2 seconds. And so being able to hoist people up for 4 seconds is pretty insane. I'd say maybe if it hoisted them up and they were invulnerable, we could do that, because then it would kind of suction people together, and then when it drops them, then you can start shooting. That way it kind of just gathers everyone into one area. I don't know. How would you guys down in the comments kind of change this up a little bit, just so that it could be a little more fair? The reason that this works in Overwatch is because you respawn after a few seconds, whereas in Apex it's a permadeath if your whole squad gets wiped, which they probably would, unless this was a very small radius, in which case it wouldn't really make sense for it to be an ultimate ability. However, those are our 3 legends for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you found this entertaining. This is one of my favorite series to do. I want to get back on doing the fan-made skins. There's another hop-ups video in the works, so leave all of your fan-made ideas down below. I want to do one of these a week at minimum. Maybe I'm thinking fan-made Fridays. How does that sound? Fan-made Fridays, where we look at all your stuff. I think that'd be cool. But that's going to be it for today. So I look forward to reading your responses to these, as well as the new legends that you guys are going to come up with and put down there. However, that's all for right now. So until tomorrow, guys, take it easy.